We would like to thank our amazing sponsor, TouringPlans Travel. Their destination specialists are experts in smart travel and are there to help you plan an amazing Disney vacation. Whether you are looking at Disney World, a Disney cruise, or anywhere in the world, they will book you an amazing vacation and it costs you nothing. Their services are completely free, so head over to touringplans.com/travel and tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars today, Doug.
We're covering all of those, where you can find them in the park, how they're in the park, why they're in the park, all about the parks, but some different galaxies and expanded universes.
Yeah, and we have a really awesome guest with us today, so really excited to get into this week's show. But before we begin, Doug, we have to remind people that we have an event coming up.
We do. We have an event.
And people are already
11th.
booking.
Right, September 11th through the 14th. Exact itinerary, look for that on next week's show. We should be announcing some events, penciling those in right now, finalizing them with Chrissy of TouringPlans. But if you book through TouringPlans while we're down there, you will get a bonus $25 gift card from TouringPlans, and you will also get a little welcome gift bag. That's rope drop specific type items.
Yes, so definitely do that.
I don't know what that could be. So
no idea.
Running gag sort of stuff that the folks at TouringPlans thinks are funny.
So yes, we want you down there. We want to hang out with you. We will be going to all the Marvel and Disney, everything we can. So if you want to do that, definitely go into the show notes, click the link, and we will take you there. Also in the link, support the show is our Patreon page, and we have some new Patreons we have to give a shout out to. Laura Riley, Mallory Gorky, and Susan Everett. Did I do that right, Doug?
Don't know.
Okay.
Don't know. I feel like that was the first time you looked at it.
I saw, well, when I text you Patreon updates, I do. And then I'm good with first names. I'm bad with last names.
Oh, dear. Yeah,
we're going to be talking more.
I don't know that you're good with first names.
Yes, I can say Doug and Derek. There you go. If it starts with a D, I got it.
How about the Alice the other week? Elise. And
no, it was Olivia.
Olivia.
Because my daughter's Olivia. It's
Olivia
challenging.
With an A.
My goodness, guys. It's
not going to forget that one.
No, you're not. So on Patreon, we're going to actually dive into more of the Disney Plus shows with Star Wars and Marvel. We've not covered any of those recently. So if you want to hear that, you're going to have to join the community and get that bonus episode.
There you go. All right. Apple Podcast reviews. Thank you to everyone that leaves one. I'm getting low. I'm going to need some, guys.
Okay.
Going to need some. That way I can mispronounce your name.
Yes. I can't be the only one mispronouncing names on this show.
Simply the Best, 5 stars by Britt Ray. Thoroughly enjoy listening to Doug and Derek on the RDR podcast. Their upbeat, informative, and fun conversations put a smile on my face and provide just the up-to-date Disney info I'm looking for. I look forward to their new episodes and appreciate the content they put together for their audience. Keep up the great work, guys. From Brittany Reynolds in Rochester, New York.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. And thank you, everyone. Yeah, keep leaving reviews, helping our show get seen. We're getting we're almost up to 400, Doug. So, got to set some goals.
Yes, we need to do that. We got get up to that 400. We'll get
Yes, there you go. We'll do something special when we hit that mark, maybe a giveaway or something. But first, we have a very special guest to talk about Marvel and Star Wars and how they're being integrated into the parks. We welcome on a writer from TouringPlans, the MCU Direct, and the Star Wars Direct blogs, normally found in line for Starbucks, right next to my wife probably. Please welcome to the show, Savanna Sanders. Welcome to Rope Drop Radio.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm a fan of the show, so I'm thrilled for the chance to be part of it today. And I've had my Starbucks, so I'm good to go.
Oh, yay. Good. All juiced up.
Well, let's start with you sharing a little bit of your Disney background with the Rope Droppers.
Begins very, very early. I've been told my first visit to Disney World was when I was 9 months old. And then
probably a lot of good memories from that trip, I'm assuming.
Right. Yeah. My mom says it was all for her and she totally owns that. I just happened to be there. So, and then I went again. This was back before Disney Cruise Line when they did the land and sea packages with the big red boat. Apparently I experienced that as well. A couple other times in my childhood, but the trip that really kind of like created my Disney obsession was during the 25th anniversary. That's when I first learned about Walt Disney and Imagineering. I remembered everything. And it's also when I think I went a few months after my dad had taken me to see Star Wars original trilogy in theaters. And when I discovered that there was Star Wars in Disney World and kind of put those things together, that really is like, again, started my obsession. And I'm still all about it ever since.
Excellent. Well, mentioning Star Wars was in the park back then. So they've had a long relationship with the Disney parks, where Marvel is much more recent. So let's start a little bit with the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That's the newest thing, the hot ticket. You've gotten to ride this. I rode this, but my description of the actual ride was very lackluster in my trip report because it was mostly about don't throw up on my daughter. Would you say that's fair, Derek? I didn't
you nailed
really describe
it.
the ride
except
much.
Nailing the puking part.
I did not.
We're still going to do it together, just letting you know. If you come down in our trip and there's enough people that come down, that will get Doug on the ride and
physically
record
push me
it.
on?
Yes, exactly. There you go.
I mean, who's buying me that lightning lane? I'm not. No,
Joe,
anyway.
Back to the Mouse is already booked, so he's going to help us get on there.
All right. Well, back to the task at hand here. What was the highlight of the ride experience for you?
I love this pre-show for the ride. Like, I got to do it a couple of times, and I think the pre-show is one of the best Disney's done in a long time. There's an amazing effect. I won't spoil it, but like the pre-show itself is worth it, and it's so Guardians. Like, it's hilarious. It feels like you're actually watching a clip from a Guardians movie. I would say that the music, of course, makes it so fun. A lot of thrill rides are more like intense. This is more like just sheer fun and joy. So I would say that, and I'm a big fan of this new ride system. It's definitely unique. I felt like years ago when like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train opened up and they really amped up how like the vehicles swing, and when you ride it, you don't really notice that, you know? But for this attraction, like what they promoted is actually what you experience. It's totally unlike any other thrill ride I've been to at a Disney park. So yeah, I would say probably the pre-show, music, and the ride vehicle make it a standout.
So all the things.
All the things.
All the things. The whole pointing, not where you're going, I could do without. I could see how people love it though. Would you say it's the smoothest roller coaster you have ever ridden?
Yes, I would say so.
And like, right, it's so smooth, and like no G-forces are really applied at any point. That's what was missing. The G-forces. You never felt like your eyeballs were going to the back of your head, which is fine by me, because Lord help me, had they done that and turned the car sideways, like, well, but so the first part of the ride, it launches backwards, correct?
Yes.
So that's
Doug's eyes were closed the whole time. I'm just assuming.
They were not. I was trying to look. There's screens everywhere. There's things to look at. There's stuff they want you to look at. You're chasing a MacGuffin.
There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening, for sure.
It's definitely got a lot of rewritability, would you say?
Yeah, I felt like with each song, it feels like a different speed. They say it's not. They say it's the same speed every time. But yeah, different songs change the experience.
But my question is, how do you feel about this being an Epcot? Marvel Epcot? Does it make sense?
I still don't know how I feel about this, to be honest.
Oh,
now,
good. I'm not the only one.
No, I didn't experience much of like original Epcot. When I was a kid, we did Spaceship Earth and then went straight back to World Showcase. So it's like a big regret of mine. I never got to.
What kind of childhood did you have?
I know. I blame my parents.
Wow.
But,
I mean, she still got to go to Epcot as a child. So
right, yeah.
That's true. That is true. But so yeah, I don't have many personal memories of what original old school Epcot was. However, in my fandom and everything. I appreciate it and I wish I had. So from that perspective, like, it bothers me, but at the same time, I'm also happy we have this because Epcot needed a thrill ride. Especially the area of the park needed some new life. So I'm kind of split on it. Like, I'm happy about it, but I'm not happy about it. Maybe I'll have a more formative opinion once everything's done, but it's still like construction wall city through there right now. So it's kind of hard to see what that full vision is going to be. But yeah, my feelings are still pretty mixed.
Derek, what are your feelings
I
on this?
don't like Marvel being in Epcot, and I'm not even an Epcot purist. I just
You are not.
No, if I do think it should be in Hollywood Studios, but I also think if they're going to do it in Epcot, go big or go home. It can't just be Guardians. You got to have more attractions in that area of the park, and that's going to change the tone of Epcot completely. But you can't just do one or the other. I feel like it's either go all in. And we'll talk more about that here in a minute. But I can't handle just Guardians being there.
All right, here's my feelings.
The Epcot guy, got it.
Having experienced it, grew up, like, you skipped Future World, Savanna. I think that was our day. It was almost like, oh yeah, there's World Showcase back there. That's where you watch Illuminations. That's all that was for in my family. We did Horizons. We did Universe of Energy every time. Those were key features of our vacation. I honestly don't care. It doesn't bother me one iota. It's gonna pull in a lot of people. It's gonna get people in line, get people in and out of a ride. It's gonna draw people to that corner of the park. It's doing its job. No one was going to Universe of Energy, and they gave up on edutainment a long time ago once they threw Nemo into the park. I mean, let's be honest, we put Pixar in, and people lost their minds about that, and you don't really hear people complaining about the seas anymore. It's weird that they call it a World Showcase Pavilion. Like, let's just call it the Energy Pavilion, because they worked that into the storyline, kind of, about how it's about energy and jumping through the galaxy, right? They kind of weave in science, would you say?
Yeah, I actually found there was more, like, Disney and Epcot Easter eggs than there were Marvel Easter eggs. That was an interesting choice. I was expecting... Like, I had been to Avengers Campus a couple months prior, and there were, like, Avengers and Marvel Easter eggs are everywhere. So I was expecting that in this ride, and there really wasn't. There was more, like, retro Epcot references, and there were Marvel references, which is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. If you're gonna do Marvel, you should go all in. This is kind of like trying to satisfy both crowds, and yeah.
Well, let's use that as a transition on why. And some people might not know why Avengers Campus is all the way out west, and we don't have that at Walt Disney World. So share the reasons.
So this is the infamous Universal Marvel contract. It's super confusing. I've yet to find probably a journalistic piece that really can explain it in its entirety. It's still kind of mysterious, but basically... years ago, Universal got the rights to a majority of the Marvel characters to use in their theme park, which means that Disney cannot. So the rule, to my understanding, is east of the Mississippi, most Marvel characters are only for Universal. Disney cannot use them at all. Merchandise is okay, that's acceptable, but no attractions, restaurants, things like that. The only reason that the Guardians is able to be at Disney World is it was not on that list because Guardians wasn't really a popular Marvel character until James Gunn made the movie back in 2014. So that's why that's the exception, and that's why Disney is going all in on Guardians at Disney World.
And that's why when Disney was like, all right, we have this weird contract, we can't use any of these characters east of the Mississippi. Let's look at some weird Marvel comics and make those movies. So they found Guardians. They found Doctor Strange, who also is not there. So he was in the parks for a little while. So we could see a Doctor Strange ride. I don't know that my stomach could handle that. Let's not do that, Disney. Don't. No.
I don't think this last movie did enough numbers to push another ride.
What?
Maybe,
was it a little too weird?
I still haven't seen it. It's on Disney Plus
in
like a week.
There.
I know. I went and saw Top Gun instead.
It's a better movie.
Ooh,
Not gonna lie, top Gun movie.
it was a great movie, one of the best ever. Anyway, that's not Disney. So so going back to East versus West in the contract, Universal does have a bunch of rides and attractions, but they cannot add to it. And I think that's fascinating as well.
That's true. That's right.
So the people that are getting hurt are all the fans. It's like the battle of the billionaires trying to, because I don't understand at this point how Disney hasn't used a whole army of lawyers and money to get this from Universal. And yet the ones that are suffering are the people like us and the ones listening who wish they could do the Spider-Man ride that's out west over at Walt Disney World.
They don't want to spend the money on the lawyers to win it and then spend the money on the rides. Like, they build one ride every 3 years, and it takes
How long
them
is
7
Tron
years to build
taken
it.
to build at this point?
I don't know. I think Claire will be able to drive by the time the light cycles are going. I don't know. So let's be honest. Could they have possibly found the right lawyers to get things done? Maybe. But do they really want to? Because what would they have really done? Right? Like Avengers Campus is a ride.
It's supposed to be 2.
They could do the other one. It's
Yeah.
Guardians. Nothing's stopping them other than money. And it's in Hollywood Studios, which, you could have changed Rock and Roller Coaster into Doctor Strange. That would have worked. Look at that. There's your Avengers Campus
There
right
you
there.
go.
But you can't call it Avengers Campus because of the contract. So you'd have to call it, I don't know, New Avengers Campus. I don't think that's in Universal anywhere. Or, I don't know, the Tomcats? No. I'm getting deep here. Sorry. Anyway, we can't have nice things at Disney World.
That's it. That was it exactly. Yep.
Did I sum it up?
You did.
Okay.
It's frustrating. I'm not going to lie.
So, Savanna, with that in mind, East Coast and West Coast, summarize both. We're really throwing stuff at you here. Where do you hope Marvel in the parks goes? What do you hope we see?
I would love Disney to pay that team of lawyers because, like you guys said, the fans are the ones that are really suffering for this. But no, it's a good point. I don't know what they would do if they did manage to change the contract. I think something with Black Panther would find its way into the parks for sure.
Yeah.
With Wakanda, and tech and things like that.
There's your World Showcase Pavilion.
They would do that.
There's a Body Wars building that has been vacant for quite a long time that would make a perfect place for that.
The only place that Black Panther appears at Universal that's keeping Disney from using them is in a painting in a gift shop.
And Doug has the picture to prove it.
Yeah, last time I was there, I was like, see, there it is. That's why we can't have nice things. Just on a wall in a gift shop. So Universal was like, nope, because they were going to roll out Black Panther at one point, and Universal was like, no, we have him. Look. But they can't do anything more with him other than that painting. That gift shop will never get remodeled. West Coast wise, where do you hope things go? They just, finish?
That would be nice if they would finish, but I don't think that's going to happen for a while. There has been no movement on, I forget what it's even called. I think it was about
the
Wakanda.
Quinjet?
Quinjet.
I think a Quinjet thing.
Wakanda. Yeah, very vague about that to begin with, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything there for a while.
Yeah, because Wakanda, in that Black Panther, you can remotely drive a car type thing in the movie, right? So they were going to do that. You can sit in a little pod and fly a Quinjet. We won't see it in our lifetime. Or our children's lifetime.
I do like how Disneyland and California Adventure are rolling out all the the Marvel characters, especially as shows are coming out. I do appreciate that, and I wish that they could do that more at Walt Disney World as well.
100%, I agree. I think that's the coolest thing, that the day a movie comes out, the day a show comes out, you can immediately go and you can see them there.
That has to literally just be a management decision because there's no contract keeping Moon Knight out of
not just one
Disney
Moon
World.
Knight. You have both of them there. I just blew
Mr.
my
Knight
mind. Yes,
and Moon Knight.
The fact that they're doing that, I'm like, well done, Disneyland. Come bring that over.
Yeah, that's just a management thing because there's no way Moon Knight's in a painting at Universal. Unless there's just some guy in a suit. They're like, oh, no, that's him. Totally.
All right, someone look that up for us. That's a Google question.
Go check all the
show.
paintings. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's where we kind of want them to go. So let's turn our attention to a galaxy far, far away. Because let's be honest, that's what we like here a little more, I think, Derek, isn't it?
I've read so many Star Wars books in the last 2 months. It's getting ridiculous.
Yes, we've talked plenty about the rides in the park and the offerings in the park and Galaxy's Edge. Like, Rise of the Resistance, my favorite ride. You're not going to win an argument with me otherwise. Millennium Falcon can be your favorite ride with the right crew. So well done. We enjoy both of them. Star Tours is still spectacular because it changes. But let's talk about the most recent change at Disneyland. So if you go on Rise of the Resistance and Star Tours, you notice it's set at a certain time. It is between episodes 8 and 9. Correct? Did I get that right?
Yes, you
8
did.
and 9. That's
yep.
high. It's really high to count for me sometimes. So it's pigeonholed right into this slot where it has to, Kylo Ren's still bad. And I mean, spoiler there. And you have Rey and Poe, like those guys. Guess what? Disneyland, they introduced Grogu. Savanna, how do you feel about this?
I am thrilled about this. This has taken too long, in my opinion.
Way too long.
I don't know why they didn't do this earlier.
It's timeline. Timeline's ruined. It's ruined for everyone.
But the
one
crowds are
understands
going
the
to go
timeline.
crazy once they get Mando and Grogu in there. And people have been asking for it. I think Mandalorian came out the same year as Galaxy's Edge opened, if I have that right. I think it was 2019.
So. Yeah.
So people have been asking for it since the very, very beginning. So I'm thrilled they finally caved and are willing to bend the timeline.
I like how you used the word caved because I don't think they would have if it wasn't for the amount of fans. You cannot walk into a Disney park, let alone Hollywood Studios, without seeing Grogu. In fact, my 9-year-old has not worn a non-Grogu thing in the last 2 months. So
you should wash his clothes.
I actually bought him a pack of Grogu socks, and so he just kind of, when it's not Packer football season, that's all he wears. But it just blows my mind how much money that this one character has made, and it's like, why would you not want to get that into every single park, cruise ship, make your own portable dining restaurant and take it around the world? Do whatever you can, because it is just a pure profit making for Disney, and it just blows my mind it's taking this long.
How he's not on a Halcyon blows my mind as well.
Exactly.
I expected Grogu to come out and be my personal pet for 2 nights. But I was disappointed in that, Disney. No. So the timeline, everything in Galaxy's Edge, that timeline. Now we have Boba Fett meeting with Fennec Shan, I believe, as
also,
well,
the
right?
Cast that I saw, that was really good casting.
And Grogu, Mandalorian coming. This opens the gate for lots of things. Luke, Leia, who knows? Also, what age of Luke and Leia do we get?
Yes, because we're going to hire a 10-year-old to be at a theme park.
Leia?
Yeah.
That would be awesome. With Lola, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
Anywho, my question
there's
for you
some child
guys.
labor laws that go into that.
You just have to have a lot of them. You just have to have a lot of
and
them.
they rotate every 45
and twins,
minutes.
Lots of twins.
Okay,
I don't know.
got it.
Anyway, my question. Let's say they didn't have a timeline. Say Rise of the Resistance was exactly what it was. You went on Millennium Falcon and it's episode 4.
Would love
timeline. Do you think anyone would care other than the 2%?
Oh, I was going to say 5%.
Star Wars fan. It's smaller. It's
Okay.
just louder on Twitter.
The
It's
people
smaller
that
than
annoy me after every... I
people
cannot
that-
get on Twitter after Obi-Wan comes out
You're
for a
not
good
a real
hour.
fan because you don't hate Obi-Wan. Okay, we're moving on. That 2%, other than that 2%, which I really don't care about, do you think anybody would even notice that it's timeline? That it matters?
I don't think so. Again, you have 2% of people who would complain, but they would also like it at the same time.
Exactly. You have to have meet and greets. I just cannot believe that it's taken them this long. And also the Halcyon, Doug, I realize, that can fit any timeline.
Right. The comics already do that for you. You just have to recast everything.
Exactly. And put a new story. That's how you make it, when it kind of starts dying down. You go back in a couple of years.
The problem is your shore excursion is too bad too. which is in a timeline. So if the timeline disappears on Batu, then it's easier for the Halcyon to, go to the High Republic era, for crying out loud.
It is a good book series. Not going to lie.
Okay, so you guys don't think anybody would care if there was no timeline in Batu? Blue milk would still taste bad in any time.
I would hope it would get better somehow. The fact that it took them this long to get Grogu in, but have not fixed blue milk just blows my mind.
It just has to be blueberry. That's all. An actual milk, I think, would help it.
A lot of rum.
Yeah, that only happens so much. All right. So here's another big question. How do you see Star Wars growing in the parks over the next decade?
That's a good question.
That's why I wrote it.
You did well. You did well, because I don't know at the moment if Lucasfilm quite knows where they're going. Because we're on Disney Plus, but there's talk about them wanting to get away from the original trilogy, and do some new things. Like, I know Taika Waititi's supposed to be writing a Star Wars movie that's set totally away from everything that we know. But at the same time, we're having more Mando, we're having Boba Fett, and we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I don't quite know what Lucasfilm has in mind. And then the parks haven't really copied what we've been getting to begin with.
Until last week.
Until last week, exactly. So yeah, it really could go anywhere at this point. I'm not sure how to predict it. I hope they would keep up with what's popular, like Avengers Campus. Follow the Avengers Campus model. Stay up to date with what fans are actually watching. That's what I would hope they would do. And which I don't know if Disney World will bend the timeline, but if they did, there's a lot of possibilities that open up there, but I don't know when they're going to do that.
Well, they have some room for expansion. So yay, not a lot of room, but enough room that they can add at least an attraction. But the one thing I want them to add, for the love of everything, is a character meal. I don't want it to be in timeline. I want characters from all the timelines, like all of them, and just walk around like
Sith Lords.
The High
like
Republic,
Maul, Vader, Palpatine. Think of that.
I will take everyone. I will shell out a lot of money for that character meal. And my son and my family, I am that target demographic, and I know there's a lot of people out there like that. I just don't understand at this point how they don't have that. I get starting off in the timeline, but please, Disney, for the love of everything, give us a character meal.
They don't like money. Disney
I
doesn't
guess
like money.
not, or putting people in costumes. But here we are on the Halcyon. I'm like, oh, we do kind of have a character meal. Why can't they do this in the parks and make just insane amounts of money? It would be like a 3-credit type of dining plan meal, like make Cinderella's Royal Table look like a joke.
What's this dining plan you speak of?
It's in a galaxy far, far away. It was a long time ago.
Never coming back.
Different timeline.
Yes. Oh, there we go.
Where's Loki when you need him? Come prune. Timeline, get us back.
I also do hope they add an attraction with the space that they have. What it is, I have no idea. But there's so many timelines with Star Wars. They can definitely do something really cool with it.
I want to ride a Tauntaun or something. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I love that speeder bike ride they talked about for years.
That'd be cool.
It would be good. I know people like to complain about how originally they showed a bunch of droids walking, like just moving about the land. And we need more of that, like the droids in the land. We were on the Halcyon where there's only
my mind is
rooms,
Doug, I'm agreeing with you.
There's a droid.
Yes.
It didn't work.
No. Like
it got mobbed by the children. It couldn't move.
By children and young adults named Derek.
And Derek. Like, I like Derek. Nope. You just kept trying to put your magic band on its eye.
I was trying to figure out. I was like, is this part of the storyline? Do I have to save a droid?
Try to do that so I will give them a pass on putting any droids in the parks.
Yep, I agree with you now. I disagreed with you until the Halcyon. That's for sure.
It's why we can't have nice things. People are why we.
I'm one of them.
Derek, yeah, he's. Yep. So there's a pass on that, and even in the next decade, there's just no way.
We still need more stormtroopers walking around. They don't get as much.
We could do that. Lots of stormtroopers.
I have another thing.
Okay.
So V Murata, I really love the book that she's in. I love that she's in the park. I also love the video game, the VR video game for Batu. And I feel like they need more content to really expand upon the lore of this land as well. That's something I really want.
You want more Batu books?
Batu, games, books, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I feel like they have this great opportunity to expand, and they're just not doing. They did a great job with a game and a book, and they could do so much more.
How about a whole Disney Plus series?
Sure, I would love it.
Set in Batu.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's the most realistic.
I've wondered why we haven't seen a Star Wars character go to Batu in some of the shows before, like Mandalorian or now Obi-Wan. Have him there just for a few minutes. I mean, it would help.
Yeah.
It's almost like the directors and producers are like, no, we won't stoop to that. But we'll do everything else that gets the fanboys excited in the Book of Boba Fett, which people that didn't like Book of Boba Fett, it's because it had the wrong title. It should have been Mandalorian season 2.5
featuring Boba Fett
and flashbacks and a back to tank.
With no understanding of how long.
It's a long title, similar to Roped Up Radio, Disney Touring Travel Planning. Yeah, it's long. We know. All right. So that's the next decade. We basically have no vision. It's like the dark side is clouding.
But there's a lot of great content coming, so hopefully they can expand on that.
All right. With what we did get in Galaxy's Edge, what was the biggest surprise where the Imagineers outdid themselves? What made you go like, oh, that's surprising?
Of course, obvious answer, Rise of Resistance. I mean, that's now like the gold standard of attractions. We all knew it would be good. I don't think we knew it would be this good. So yeah, Rise of Resistance. Another one for me would probably be the merchandise with how it's like in universe. It confuses people. You can't like buy like a Star Wars shirt that says Star Wars on it in the land, and I get that's confusing, but I love how like handcrafted and again, I guess in world everything is, and there's constantly new stuff. Disneyland, I think it's more of it than Disney World. But the creativity with that, I think is pretty cool. I
like how much Ahsoka merchandise is in there, like within the world. That was surprising. Like she's famous in Star Wars, right? Like if you're merchandise, that means people know who you are. Yeah,
I got two. The one thing that always blows my mind is Ronto Roasters and showing the jet engine and the droid. I'm just like, that is well done. Like I always praise that. Like that is just, you did not need that there, but that is just keeping it in the land. And then also Droid Depot, the amount of money that they are making, and my kids are still playing with their droids to this day. I'm just blown away with and droids everywhere. Wasn't just like some cheap experience. They really, I mean, it's expensive, so they really did a great job with the whole process.
I'm gonna add Savis.
Oh yeah,
to that too. And yes, it's a premium experience, but it's an experience, not just here's your lightsaber, kid. Have at it. It's it is very cool. Also in timeline, so that's important. Yep. But the green milk, nobody mentioned the green milk as a surprise. I think part of the problem is when they built the land, they're like, all right, everybody watched, not The Last Jedi. Yeah, The Last Jedi and Solo, and like, all right, this is what we got to work with. I think the one thing that bothers me the most, this is a segue to the next question, is the fact that we shoot at coaxium, where in Solo, A Star Wars Story, basically it's the most explosive volatile thing on the galaxy. Be careful. Don't bump it. Don't move it. Don't shake it. Let's get behind the train and blow it up. Can we address that elephant in the room? Probably not. Okay, there's mine. What is your Galaxy's Edge biggest fail? Green milk's not the answer.
Millennium Falcon's on there for me. I really had high expectations for that. Didn't quite deliver. Again, if you have the right group with you in the cockpit, you can really make it fun. But yeah, I remember getting off of that for the first time, and I was just like, it's close, but it's just not quite there. I think the queue actually is why I usually go ride that ride more than actually the ride itself. And then I would probably say having an unknown planet. I like that they kind of built the lore around Batu, but I think if we had a more a well-known planet, I think it would have done a lot better. I think it would help with the timeline issues. I think it would help with, I mean, of course, Disney built this wanting to kind of copy Harry Potter. And when you go to Universal, you are walking in things you've seen on the screen. And I feel like that is just like a bit of the magic that's missing at Galaxy's Edge. It's better now that it's familiar, and again that there is lore around it. But to begin with, that was a fail for me.
That makes sense. Yeah. Other than the Millennium Falcon thing,
I love Millennium Falcon. Still love that ride.
Have you done Chewbacca mode?
I've seen it on YouTube, but I've not done
it. Not the same.
Doug's done it.
We did it like 6 times in a row before we got Chewbacca mode. So when we did get Chewbacca mode to finally activate, like we had every word of Hondo memorized, so it was even probably more entertaining. But yeah, Chewbacca mode, the right crew.
Watching my redheaded Irish twins battle in the cockpit and yell at each other. Gold. Highlight, core memory right there.
So, Derek, what's your biggest fails of Galaxy's Edge?
I did say dining. Character dining still blows my mind that we don't have that. The other thing is no show. Like some sort of, I know even they do the little Spider-Man show.
What are you talking about? They walk out of a ship and they stand there for 2 seconds and then they walk off. That's a show.
That is not what it, like when that land was built, I thought they were going to have some sort of stunt type show. So going back to Derek and Hollywood Studios and my weird love for stunt shows, I think they should have some sort of show that is maybe couple times during the day. V can be in it, Chewbacca, Rey. You get exactly what we have on the Halcyon. There's characters interacting, and you just put that in Hollywood Studios a couple times. I don't understand why they don't do that.
You know they made that stage so that there could be a show there.
Oh, absolutely.
They didn't make it literally for characters to walk off of. Yep. That's all it is stairs. It's a very expensive set of stairs.
Well, and even when you and I were there, we saw V Murata like up in the little tower area, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know characters could be up there. And I'm like, oh, so they could like expand this show to be really big.
Yeah, but they don't.
No, I just don't understand.
They did for the meet event when they opened it.
Yeah,
they had a show like up on like the walkways up there, and I was shocked that we never saw it again.
They also had flying
X-wings. One time it flew over. Side note, like it was like the helicopter pilot just says, this is a dumb idea. As someone who flies drones for a living, I'm like, I kind of understand that.
Yep. But like, we know they're capable. They're just choosing not to. It's busy enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they fly X-Wings around is not going to bring 1 or 2 more people through the gate, probably.
You're saving money by not, piloting.
At the end of the day, it's a business, and they can't spend that character dining money they're not making, so I guess that's where.
Like, why is there no character in Oga's? Like one character behind the bar or at the bar? That has always bugged me. Yeah, you get Rex, but just put like one costume.
The bartenders are all characters, Derek. They're all.
I'm well aware, but like a Twi'lek. Why is there not just a Twi'lek sitting at the bar behind the bars? Like, could just be sitting there telling stories. I don't.
I can tell you why there's not a female Twi'lek sitting behind the bar, because people are creepy and can't be trusted.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
People suck. That ruins it.
They ruin everything. Yeah. So, anyway, on that note. So anything else, any little last things about Star Wars, Marvel, and the Disney parks, other than I'm glad they're there and I enjoy them thoroughly? Derek, I think it's time
for the lightning round.
All right, Savanna, you have survived thus far of Rope Drop Radio, so now it's time for the lightning round, where the scores matter, but they are made up and they don't really count. This is where you answer with your favorite Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, whatever you need to do. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite movie?
Beauty and the Beast. Animated.
Ooh, glad
Excellent. I like the
specific.
clarification.
Yes.
I didn't have to follow up. I appreciate that.
I needed to do it for myself.
Not the Emma Watson fan. That no. Okay. Favorite character.
Be Belle.
Oh, staying.
Got a theme going. All right.
Yes. Let's see if we continue the trend. Favorite villain.
Deep cut Prince John from Robin Hood.
That is a deep cut. You're not wrong. Favorite Disney song.
Probably How Far I'll Go from Moana.
That's a great song.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
Correct. There's a lot of points with that answer. All right. Favorite Disney park.
Hollywood Studios.
Oh,
that's an excellent answer
makes
too.
Sense.
I mean, it's where Galaxy's Edge is. So all the blue milk you can drink if you have a credit card. All right. Favorite classic attraction you define classic.
Probably Peter Pan's Flight. Going with the real classic there. Vintage.
Do you prefer one for the other, one coast or the other coast, or?
Nostalgia-wise, Disney Worlds, but Disneyland I think is a little bit better.
Okay. Favorite modern attraction you define modern.
This is controversial because it should be Rise of the Resistance, but for me, it's gonna be Flight of Passage.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I don't know about this.
Now she's got to start the Avatar blog with the new Avatar movie coming out.
Right? You gotta. It
comes out every 13
direct.
years.
Lots of content every 13 years. But there's like 75 movies coming. So
that we know, yeah, sure.
Sometime.
We'll see.
At some point. I watched a YouTube video break down the trailer, and they're talking about like the characters from the first movie and all this stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, there were characters in that. I've totally forgot their names.
My kids weren't even born
them.
like when that movie came out.
Yeah, my kids weren't old enough to go to a theater or keep 3D glasses
but
on their face.
We're seeing Avatar 2 together, right, Doug?
Sure.
Okay, we'll put that in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Favorite Disney resort?
Wilderness Lodge.
What do you like about Wilderness Lodge in particular, if we can go a second level here?
Oh, gosh. I love the theme. I love log cabins and that whole kind of design. So that's definitely it. The aesthetic. It was also the first deluxe I ever stayed at.
I'll do
that
it.
Really helped rank it at the top there.
Yep.
Yeah.
The correct answer is Geyser Point.
Oh, I love Geyser Point. Yes.
That's a good one. Yeah. I will say it's modeled off the Yellowstone Inn, and it's extremely accurate after being there. And just a little shout out to Yellowstone right now as it washes away. I feel sorry for anybody trapped inside.
Do you want to know who's there right now? My dad. My dad got there right when they shut it down. So
he's not in the
He didn't
park.
get it, like literally was driving there
good.
From Minnesota, and he texted me, he goes, so trying to get to Yellowstone, and they just shut us out. And then he got all the video, and he's like, oh, I'm glad we're not stuck there.
Right, because if you're in Yellowstone, like, it's remote.
Mm-hmm.
Cell phones don't really work. I don't know how those people are all getting out of there. Anyway, thinking of you, Yellowstone. Thinking of you. Anyway, back to the lightning round. That was a tangent. Favorite counter service restaurant?
This varies, but today it would be Satuli Canteen.
That's the correct answer. You got it. Nailed it.
Today you are right. You know what's
day.
funny? We talk all about Star Wars and Marvel. None of us mentioned any of their counter service dining. So Docking Bay 7, it's good. It's just not great. And it's like the most expensive counter service on Broadway.
And it goes up $1 every time, and I have proof.
So Derek needs to go less so it stops going up $1.
I go way too much that one.
That's whose fault it is.
It is.
All right. Favorite table service restaurant?
Probably Le Cellier at Epcot.
Oh, love me some Le Cellier.
Excellent choice.
Yes.
Most important question, favorite Disney snack?
I love citrus swirls.
Yeah.
Almost.
Or the Dole Whip.
There you go.
Yeah.
She saved herself. All right. Favorite Disney drink?
Starbucks.
Okay.
There you go. Yep.
It's
You and my wife every time we go to the parks.
All right. Disney bucket list. What's on your Disney travel bucket list?
The Disneyland Paris. That's at the top right now.
Not the Halcyon, or have you been?
I have not been. So It's on there. It's not at the top, but it's on there.
Paris is probably a little more exciting than yeah. Plus now you got the Marvel Hotel, which is open and looks fantastic. They did a very nice job with that. So all right, Derek, that concludes
the lightning round. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Take a minute and tell the rope droppers where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Disney Park Savvy. I'm also writing things for the TouringPlans blog, and again, the MCU Direct and Star Wars Direct.
Yeah, great stuff, and love it. We'll definitely share a link on our show notes and as well on our social media this week. But we need to get to the Patreon so we can talk more about the Disney Plus Marvel and Star Wars shows. Doug, we haven't done a review in quite a long time, and we're due to talk about all the, especially with Obi-Wan out and all the shows.
A lot of things.
So if you want to hear that content, you're going to have to go in the show notes. Please help support the show. And thank you to all of our Patreons who do support us as well. And then a big shout out to Touring Plans Travel for being our sponsor. If you want to take an amazing vacation to anywhere, and including Disney and Disney World, check out all the Star Wars and all the stuff we talked about today. You're going to have to go to touringplans.com/travel, and you can find us in a link of where you heard it from, Rope Drop Radio. So that is it. So for Savanna and Doug, I'm Derek. You've been listening to Rope Drop Radio.